Hello students, welcome to the class. This is Hemlata Soni and today I am going to explain chapter number 4 from the diary of Anne Frank of NCERT book First Flight for class 10th. So children, this chapter is quite interesting for you, especially at the present time, because we'll see how the people had to lock themselves, how the people had to hide themselves during World War II. And we can understand their sufferings and their feelings because at the present time we also have locked ourselves in our houses during this lockdown due to corona pandemic. Before starting the chapter, I am giving you a brief introduction of this chapter. From the Diary of Anne Frank is an excerpt of the Diary of a Young Girl written by Anne Frank. It means the chapter is an extract of a diary. The diary was written by Anne Frank and the diary was published by her father after her death. Anne Frank was born on 12 June 1929 in Germany and she was a Jewish girl. Her family was living in Germany, but as the Nazis gained power in Germany, the family had to move from Germany to Amsterdam, the capital of Netherlands, to protect themselves, as Nazis were torturing the Jewish people mentally and physically. Even the Jewish people were deprived of education, jobs and transportation. And Nazis were not in favor to give the rights and the privileges of a citizen to Jewish people. So the family shifted to Netherlands and they were happy there and the family was settled there. But soon the Nazi occupation extended to Netherlands also, and at that time the family had no option and the family had to go into hiding. Anne's family went into hiding in July 1942 and it was an annex of Mr. Otto Frank's office where the family was hidden. There were 8 people: Anne Frank, her sister Margot, her mother Edith Frank and her father Otto Frank, and 4 more friends were there. So the family was hidden there for 2 years, but after 2 years in August 1944 the family was trapped and they were taken to concentration camp system. Concentration camp system was a place where the Nazis had adopted all the measures to persecute Jewish people. They were kept under labor, they were beaten, they were killed, and all inhuman activities were done by the Nazis with Jewish people. In concentration camp, Anne's mother died of starvation, and after that, firstly Margot and then Anne Frank in 1945 died of typhus, that was an infectious disease. And when the war ended, Mr. Otto Frank returned to Amsterdam where he was residing and he found the diary that was written by Anne Frank. And he found that it was a unique record. That's why he decided to publish it in English under the name The Diary of a Young Girl. Originally it was written in Dutch language, but it was translated in many other languages once it was published. And there are several films, theatrical productions and opera based on the diary of a young girl. The diary became one of the most widely read books and Anne Frank became one of the most renowned and discussed Holocaust victim. Holocaust victim because the destruction or the slaughter was on a mass scale and she was a part of that destruction. And do you know who had given this diary to her? The diary was a gift on her 13th birthday, that was on 12th June 1942, and it was given by her parents. So I just want your attention here. She got the diary on 12th June 1942 and the family went into hiding in July 1942 and the family stayed there till 1st August 1944. So it means the girl Anne Frank was writing this diary when the family was hidden in an annex. and there was a threat and danger in front of the family, and still the girl was writing that diary, and that is the point that makes this diary popular, and you should read this diary. So before proceeding to the chapter, I would like you to have a glance on the slides here. Frank and Frank in Montessori school, and Frank with Mrs. Couperus, and Frank with her sister Margot. Kitty, the diary and the best friend of Anne Frank. The pages of her diary where she has written her secrets and her feelings. The diary is a unique record. Jewish people moving to other places, office building of Mr. Otto Frank, the annex behind a bookcase where the family was hidden, the hidden rooms, concentration camp where Jewish people were tortured, some quotes by Anne Frank. I think after going through the slides, you have understood what I explained you in the starting. Now it's the time to explain the text. So look at the screen. Writing a diary is a really strange experience for someone like me, not only because I have never written anything before, but also it seems to me that later on, neither I nor anyone else will be interested in the musings of a 13-year-old schoolgirl. Oh well, it doesn't matter. I feel like writing, and I have an even greater need to get all kinds of things off my chest. So Anne Frank writes here that drafting her ideas or the views in a diary is a strange thing for her because she has never written any diary before it, and the second thing is that she knows that neither she nor anyone else would be interested in reading the thoughts of a 13-year-old girl, because people may think that what a 13-year-old schoolgirl may write, so nobody will be interested. That's why it's strange for her. And she writes here that she doesn't mean whether anyone will read her diary or not, but she only wants to share her secrets and she wants to share her thoughts with her diary. Next para. Paper has more patience than people. I thought of this saying on one of those days when I was feeling a little depressed and was sitting at home with my chin in my hands, bored and listless, wondering whether to stay in or go out. I finally stayed where I was, brooding. Yes, paper does have more patience, and since I'm not planning to let anyone else read this stiff-backed notebook, grandly referred to as a diary, unless I should ever find a real friend, it probably won't make a bit of difference. She writes here that paper has more patience than people, and she is absolutely right. On a paper, you can write anything, anytime, and as many times as you can. But you cannot repeat the same thing with a human being. You cannot do like that. If you keep on saying the same thing to a person, or anytime, maybe the person is not having time for you, or maybe he gets bored because of your talkings or of your opinions. So she says that paper has more patience because it is always ready for you. And then she says that she will not let anyone read this diary until and unless she find a real friend. Now, I am back to the point that prompted me to keep a diary in the first place. I don't have a friend. She writes here that what is the purpose of writing a diary? Because she is not having a true friend or a real friend with whom she can share everything, whatever is happening with her. Let me put it more clearly, since no one will believe that a 13-year-old girl is completely alone in the world, and I am not. I have loving parents and a 16-year-old sister, and there are about 30 people I can call friends. I have a family, loving aunts, and a good home. No, on the surface, I seem to have everything except my one true friend. All I think about when I'm with friends is having a good time. I can't bring myself to talk about anything but ordinary everyday things. We don't seem to be able to get closer, and that's the problem. Maybe it's my fault that we don't confide in each other. In any case, that's just how things are. And unfortunately, they are not liable to change. This is why I have started the diary. So she clears herself that she doesn't have a true friend, she doesn't have a real friend. It doesn't mean that she's alone in the world. She says that she has a good home, she has a good family, she has sister, mother, father, aunts, everything. And even she has friends too. But she is not closer to her friend because she can't share her secrets with them. Maybe it's her nature and she accepts that maybe because of nature she is not sharing her things with her friends. But it is her nature and it can't be changed. That's why she has made a diary her friend. To enhance the image of this long-awaited friend in my imagination, I don't want to jot down the facts in this diary the way most people would do, but I want the diary to be my friend, and I'm going to call this friend Kitty. So she's saying that she's not following the people who just have a diary and they just keep on writing and writing, because this is her friend and that's why this is her real friend. That's why she has given the name Kitty to this diary, so that whenever she will write anything in it, she will imagine as she is really talking to her friend. Since no one would understand a word of my stories to Kitty if I were to plunge right in, I would better provide a brief sketch of my life, much as I dislike doing so. Now she says that if I directly start to write my diary, then if anyone will read any time, the person may not be able to understand about my and Kitty's relation. That's why I am giving a brief past life of mine. She doesn't like to do so, but still she is doing so. My father, the most adorable father I have ever seen, didn't marry my mother until he was 36 and she was 25. My sister Margot was born in Frankfurt in Germany in 1926. I was born on 12 June 1929. I lived in Frankfurt until I was 4. My father immigrated to Holland in 1933. My mother, Edith Hollander Frank, went with him to Holland in September, while Margot and I were sent to Aachen to stay with our grandmother. Margot went to Holland in December and I followed in February, when I was plunked down on the table as a birthday present for Margot. Now she says she starts her past life, or she starts to write about her family, and she writes that she has the most loving and adorable father, and she says that when her father was 36 and mother was 25, then they got married, and Margot, her sister, was born in 1926 and she was born on 12 June 1929, and she lived in Frankfurt until she was 4, and in 1933 her father shifted to Holland, and afterwards her mother went to Holland in September, and at that time Margot and Anne were sent to stay with her grandmother, and Margot was also sent to Holland in December, and when it was birthday of Margot in February, on that day I was kept as a birthday present on the table for Margot. It means on the birthday of Margot she went to Holland. I started right away at the Montessori school. I stayed there until I was 6, at which time I started in the first form. In the 6th form, my teacher was Mrs. Couperus, the headmistress. At the end of the year, we were both in tears as we said a heartbreaking farewell. Now she says that she started her schooling in Montessori school, and till 6th year she was there, and at that time she was in 1st standard, And when she was in class 6th, her teacher was Mrs. Cooperus, who was headmistress. And at the end, when it was the time to depart from each other, Mrs. Cooperus and Anne Frank, they cried and there were tears in their eyes. In the summer of 1941, Grandma fell ill and had to have an operation. So my birthday passed with little celebration. Grandma died in January 1942. No one knows how often I think of her and still love her. This birthday celebration in 1942 was intended to make up for the other, and Grandma's candle was lit along with the rest. Now she writes here that her grandmother fell ill in 1941, and that year her birthday was celebrated simply by organizing a small party. And in January 1942 her grandmother passed away, and that year her birthday was celebrated by lighting an extra candle for grandmother. And Anne Frank loved her grandmother so much that she was missing her every time, every moment, but she couldn't tell it to anyone. The four of us are still doing well, and that brings me to the present date of 20th June 1942 and the solemn dedication of my diary. So she writes here that the family is living happily, and this is the day 20th June 1942 when she is writing or she is sharing her views with her diary. So here she starts her diary on Saturday 20th June 1942. Dearest Kitty, our entire class is quaking in its boots. The reason, of course, is the forthcoming meeting in which the teachers decide who will move up to the next form and who will be kept back. Half the class is making bets. G and I laugh ourselves silly at the two boys behind us, Cian and Jacques, who have staked their entire holiday savings on their bet. From morning to night, it's you are going to pass. No, I am not. Yes, you are. No, I am not. Even G's pleading glances and my angry outbursts can't calm them down. If you ask me, there are so many dummies that about a quarter of the class should be kept back, but teachers are the most unpredictable creatures on earth. So she says here that her class is shaking with fear and nervousness because their results are to be announced, and it will be announced that who will get passed and who will be detained in the same class. So she and her friend G.N., they are laughing at the two boys who were sitting behind them, C.N. and Jacques, because they had risked their entire holiday savings on bet that who will get passed and who will not. So after some time, there is a girl, G. She was requesting the boys to please keep silence, and then Anne stared at the boys and she was angry because they were not keeping quiet. But still the boys couldn't keep calm. They were excited who will win the bet. So Anne Frank says here that according to her, 1/4 of the class is not intelligent and they should be kept in the same class. But these are the teachers who will decide who will be promoted and who will be detained. So it completely depends on the teacher. That's why she writes here, unpredictable creature on earth. I'm not so worried about my girlfriends and myself. We'll make it. The only subject I'm not sure about is maths. Anyway, all we can do is wait. Until then, we keep telling each other not to lose heart. So she says that she is damn sure that she and her friend will get passed, but she is a little bit nervous in maths subject because she is not so good in maths. That's why she says that they only can wait for the results. Until then they can console each other that everything will happen good. I get along pretty well with all my teachers. There are 9 of them, 7 men and 2 women. Mr. Keesing, the old fogey who teaches maths, was annoyed with me for ages because I talked so much. After several warnings, he assigned me extra homework, an essay on the subject, a chatterbox. A chatterbox? What can you write about that? I would worry about that later, I decided. I jotted down the title in my notebook, tucked it in my bag and tried to keep quiet. So she says that her bonding with her teachers were very good, and there were 9 teachers total, 7 were men and 2 were women. And her maths teacher was Mr. Keesing, who was always annoyed with her because she was a talkative girl. She couldn't keep silence in class during lessons. That's why one day when he was fed up of her, he had given an extra homework to her that was an essay on the topic a chatterbox. So as she listens that she has been given the topic chatterbox, she thinks what to write about this topic, but she jotted down. She wrote down the topic fastly in her notebook, and then she kept it in the bag, and she thought that she'll think about it afterward. And that evening, after I had finished the rest of my homework, the note about the essay caught my eye. I began thinking about the subject while chewing the tip of my fountain pen. Anyone could ramble on and leave big spaces between the words, but the trick was to come up with convincing arguments to prove the necessity of talking. I thought, and suddenly I had an idea. I wrote the 3 pages Mr. Keesing had assigned me, and that was satisfied. I argued that talking is a student's fate, and that I would do my best to keep it under control, but that I would never be able to cure myself of the habit, since my mother talked as much as I did, if not more, and that there's not much you can do about inherited traits. In the evening, she reached home and she finished her homework, and then she started to think over the topic on which she was to write an essay, and the topic was a chatterbox. So she thinks by chewing the tip of fountain pen, and she says that it was very easy for her by leaving the spaces between words and sentences, and she could fill many pages as she wanted, but her target was to convince Mr. Keesing, and she wanted to justify the necessity of talking to her. So she writes that talking is a habit of student, and she would try to keep it under control. And then she writes next that she cannot cure the habit permanently because the habit was inherited by her from her mother. Her mother is also talkative, that's why she can't stop it, but she will try to keep the habit under control. Mr. Keesing had a good laugh at my arguments, but when I proceeded to talk my way through the next lesson, he assigned me a second essay. This time it was supposed to be on an incorrigible chatterbox. I handed it in, and Mr. Keesing had nothing to complain about for 2 whole lessons. However, during the 3rd lesson, he had finally had enough, and Frank, as punishment for talking in class, write an essay entitled "Quack Quack Quack," said Mistress Chatterbox. Mr. Keesing started to laugh when he read the content of the essay that was written by Anne Frank. So he was convinced by her essay, and in the next lesson when she was talking again, she was given the second topic, and it was an incorrigible chatterbox. Incorrigible means the one who cannot be corrected. So this time also Anne Frank had written a nice essay, and she handed it to Mr. Keesing, and for next 2 lessons she was not scolded when she was talking in the class, but when she continued her talking in 3rd class 2, then she was given again assignment to write an essay, and this time the topic was "Quack Quack Quack," said Mistress Chatterbox. So this was the topic, "Quack Quack Quack," said Mistress Chatterbox. The class roared. I had to laugh too, though I had nearly exhausted my ingenuity on the topic of chatterboxes. It was time to come up with something else, something original. My friend Sani, who was good at poetry, offered to help me write the essay from beginning to end in verse, and I jumped for joy. Mr. Keesing was trying to play a joke on me with his ridiculous subject, but I would make sure the joke was on him. So she says, as the topic was told in the class started to laugh, and Anne Frank was also laughing about that. And she says that she was bored now because previous 2 essays were also written on the same topic, and this time she wanted to write something different. And she had a friend, Sani. She was very good at poetry, so she offered her help, that she would help her to write the essay in verse, means in poetic form, and she was very happy that this time she will write the essay in a different style. And she thought that Mr. Keesing, who has been making fun of her by giving her these ridiculous topics, now she will put his joke on him. I finished my poem and it was beautiful. It was about a mother duck and a father swan with 3 baby ducklings who were beaten to death by the father because they quacked too much. Luckily, Mr. Keesing took the joke in right way. He read the poem to the class, adding his own comments and to several other classes as well. Since then, I have been allowed to talk and haven't been assigned any extra homework. On the contrary, Mr. Keesing is always making jokes these days. So she says that she had finished her poem and it was wonderful, and the poem was about a mother duck and father swan who had 3 ducklings, and the father swan killed the ducklings because they were quacking too much. So indirectly she had depicted in the poem that here Mr. Keesing was the father swan who killed the ducklings because of their chattering, because of their quacking. So she was thankful that Mr. Keesing had not taken the joke negatively on him, and he laughed, and he read the poem to the class and he added his own comments about the poem, and since then she was allowed to talk in the class and she was never assigned any extra homework after that. And Mr. Keesing now was a jolly and funny teacher, and he was always making jokes in the class. So children, these are the starting pages of Anne's diary that are given in your syllabus, and we see how she finds a good and confident friend in the form of a diary with whom she shares the feelings and secrets of her life. We find her playful, comical, remarkably forthright and perceptive in the beginning, but as she leaves her normal childhood days behind and enters the unusual circumstances of Holocaust, we find her more introspective and thoughtful, and we see how lonely she is and she is in need of kindness and affection. So I suggest you to go through the diary